Hello and happy Tuesday and Wednesday. I don't even know what day it is anymore. Just kind of the way my day's gone. All right. Hi, folks. Welcome to Boost Live. My name is John Nelson, the plug-in CEO and the interesting looking guy on camera here. I got this new camera and I washed it and I can't do anything with it. Okay. So just trying to get things going this morning. We got a lot of material to cover. I apologize. I was running a little bit late. Part of my hairiness, I guess, in that I wanted to try to work through all this, but I've got a lot of material to share with you, and it's really cool, and I'm excited to get into this. So we are on a bit of a journey here. We're trying to skyrocket your business success and do it using a few different tools that you haven't always come across. So for those of us who've been doing marketing, we are zooming out a little bit and approaching this from a holistic business point of view. So yes, there's some marketing in here. In fact, we're going to talk about a key point of it today. But that's not the only thing that we're going to spend our time talking about. So I think I got everything in order here and put together. So let me see, and hopefully I won't mess this up too badly. Because I'm the only show here. We're going to talk about a concept called a market dominating position today, and how you can absolutely have competition crushing success if you master how to do it correctly. Okay. And just a note for folks, if you want to jump in the comments, I probably won't be checking them all that much until the very end, but happy to do it and to answer any questions that you have in any of the Facebook groups that we're on. And then some other places as well. And there'll be some opportunities for you to kind of test out some of your market dominating positions and see how they're different from the ones that I come up with. But I hope this is a success for you, because the group that I'm a part of that's been working with this, and there are faces you haven't seen yet, mostly. But they are the group that is bringing me a lot of this information and these tools to make this happen, has seen a 75% success rate improvement in if somebody masters a good market dominating position for themselves or for their clients. It is working out very well for them. So I want that benefit for you. I want you to realize that benefit. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So let's jump right in. That's several things we're going to be talking about today. So you might have heard of a unique USP, a unique selling proposition. Our friend Sheena-Leigh talks about it all the time, and that's a good thing to have. Market dominating position kind of takes that to another level, and we'll talk about how that is and why that is. So we'll talk about the differences between the two. We will help you to discover yours. I'm going to ask you some rhetorical questions. If you want to answer them online, you can, but they're rhetorical. They're for you. And then at the end, I'm going to show you some examples of how to do it right and how to do it wrong in like 5 different areas. And a couple of them you've heard before, but there's some new ones. So I wanted to get some new material if I'm gonna do that. So let me get my my mouse cursor out of the way. I noticed in a lot of the lives, it's like hanging out over here for some reason. And I didn't think it was actually showing up in the presentations, but apparently it actually is. So my apologies. All right. So a USP, a unique selling proposition. This is a couple of different, Optimizely is a service out there, but the ones I want to call your attention to below are from Shopify. And I'll talk about them a little bit more in a second. I am a Shopify partner, although I haven't used it in a while. But basically, a unique selling proposition is a feature or benefit that helps you stand out, your business stand out against your versus your competition in a given market. Okay, so these are the things that make you unique. You should have at least one, if not several, USPs. You should have at least one. This is not an either or thing. It's just, but an MDP, as you're going to see in a minute, takes this to another level. It includes a USP, in fact, and takes it to a different level. So not only am I throwing around acronyms, it's they have some use in this world. So your unique selling proposition or unique selling point are those, and you should have a list of these, are the benefits that help you stand out, that make you unique. So I want to call your attention. So Shopify does. There's some things I don't like about the platform after using it for a while. Their web hosting platform side of it is, they've made a lot of improvements in recent time, but it's still kind of kludgy. It's like a lot of built-in web design apps where they don't give you any flexibility hardly to do anything, and I guess they can't. But it's still, there were problems there that I had with customers that I really couldn't overcome very well. Because of the way their platform worked. But two things they do very well. One is the integration with, say, social media or Google or some of those processes. It's really well done. It's particularly for people who don't have that kind of service or situation already in place. It just works. You follow their step-by-step guides and it just plugs in and it does good. The other thing they're exceedingly good at, and this is available to the public, whether you have a Shopify account or not, is their help articles are fantastic. Their blog articles, particularly if you're starting a business, that's who they're aimed at. And so there are great articles, say, for example, on how to take good photographs of your products if you're going to put them out there. There are fantastic articles. And there was one about establishing a unique selling proposition, as it would have it. And so one of these quotes kind of came out of that. So I'm gonna look at my notes here, if you'll forgive me. But it's so at its core, a USP should, this is point 3, should quickly answer a prospect's should particularly answer a prospect or customer's most immediate question. Okay, you're going to see in a moment how close that is to the other thing that we're talking about today. So at its core, it should answer a prospect's unique questions that they have. They're immediate questions that they have. They're not unique. They are immediate. So that sounds an awful lot like a market dominating position. A market dominating position is a USP, a unique selling proposition we just talked about, or some other benefit that, here's the key point, speaks to the hot button issue that a customer or a prospect is experiencing. So it's not enough to have benefits. They have to actually be on the minds of some, it's not enough to be unique. You have to be in a way that hits the market in a place that exactly where it needs the market you serve, the hot button issues, the thorny points, the problems they need solved. We're going to dive into that a little bit more in just a minute, but it's got to hit them there, or you're just another noisemaker. You're another Me Too. You're another company that's just, and I know that sounds a little harsh, but this is the level you have to think at. Are you truly solving a problem in the market that needs solving? If you're not, then it doesn't matter what benefit you offer. Have you done your research on your market to know enough of who your avatar is? All this is starting to come together, isn't it? Have you done enough research on who your persona is in the market that you're selling to, that you know what their hot button issues are? You know what their problems are. They're true problems that they need. They're affecting their business that they need solving. They're affecting their lifestyle that they need solving. They're affecting the way that they do things, and those need solving. So that's what an MDP is, and that's how it is. That's how it takes everything up a notch. Okay, if you can identify those hot button issues, then you can come up with a way to explain that, and this should be down to like a universal selling proposition. That should be down to 1 or 2 sentences. A market dominating position should be down to a statement. Think about an elevator speech. You talk about in sales, having your elevator pitch, right? That's going from one. You have the exact time of going from one floor to the next in an elevator, about 10 seconds, to articulate why somebody should choose to do business with you. And the market dominating position is the way to do that, because then you show them that you are speaking to them, that you get them, and that you know how to solve their problem. You already knew how to solve their problem to begin with, but what you're trying to show them is that you are paying attention, and I have a unique way to solve that problem that nobody else does. That is a market dominating position. It's not who gets there first, it's who gets there best. Okay. So I hope that summarizes it a little bit. So a USP is we're talking about the differences here, or the comparisons. Is a benefit or benefits. USP is a benefit or benefits that your product or service offers over in the market over your competition, for the market that you serve. Okay. A market dominating position is a specific USP or benefit, it can be one or the other, that solves exactly the problem that needs solving, that a prospective client needs at exactly the right time. These things are very important. You got to solve the problem, and you've got to solve the problem that they need when they need it, and not a moment before and not after. If you're after, you're just, what do they say? Johnny come lately. So you have to solve the exact problem that they're trying to solve at exactly the right time. So I wanted to sit on that for just a moment. Okay. So that the benefit or solution must solve a prospect or customer's issues. Must solve a prospect or customer's problem so completely. They must solve it so completely that they would be a fool not to do business with you any place, anywhere, anytime. Your fit is just that good that there is nobody else that can even come close. Do you have a product or service or aspect of your business that you can say that is the case? Is it fits exactly the need at exactly the right time in a way that nobody else can. So if they don't do business with you, if they don't take you up on what it is that you're providing them, they are idiots. They are fools. Yeah, that's harsh, but I want to drive that point home. Okay. I really, really want to do that because this is the level you have to think at if you're doing a market dominating position, and you should. This is in the assessments that I do for clients. It's called a success blueprint. A market dominating position is right there at the top because the success benefit is so good. It's 75% increase. It is so good, but it also shapes your culture, the culture of your business, the way that you do things. And it really becomes a part of your DNA. We'll talk about that more in just a little bit, but it really does become a part of of what you do and everything that you are, is that market dominating position. You can solve that problem unlike anybody else, and you are out to prove it. And that is how you stand out. Okay. So, all right. So this is the thing I was talking about. So a good market dominating position should address these three issues, right? So it should address the problem that your prospects have but don't want, and it should provide the result your prospects want but don't have. Okay, that's those first 2 points. Think about that for a second. It should address the problem that they have but don't want, and provide the result that they want but don't have. Okay, you are the one that's there to provide that solution, right? So, hang on a second. Yeah, sorry, I was just checking something there. It really wasn't working well like I thought it. But you must be the only. So they should be address the problem they have but don't want, the result they want but don't have, and you should be the only one positioned to solve that issue. You should be the only company, the only business, the only person, the only solution for them. So there is no other option for your market. I mean, it's tough to do this and compare. We're going to ask a question in a minute about your market, but it's tough to compare that to something going on halfway around the world. Say, okay, well, maybe there's other people in those places who can solve those problems, but your market, your place, your time, you are and should be the only solution for them, the only one that matters, because you're the only one who gets them, and you're the only one who can provide what they need when they need it. Okay, have we beaten that to death? I think we have. Okay, so Why have an MDP or a USP? Okay, so without any sort of differentiator for your business, and I see this a lot, folks, and I saw it in my business, which is why I made a change, a major change, a sea change. If there's no other competition out there, or everybody says the same thing and you don't stand out, you're basically saying, okay, there's really nothing unique about me, so you should just give me the business because I'm the first. I was here the first, and I know I'm nothing special. I may or may not be able to do this, so maybe it's a little bit of charity there. But please take pity on me and give me your business. That's essentially what you're saying to people if you don't find any way or choose any way to stand out. And in the absence of anything that's any product differentiator in the market, people will go to price. And when they go to price, the lowest price, those who play the lowest price game, everybody loses. Everybody. It erodes away your bottom line and your any profits that you might have. You can discount yourself to the bone, and they'll let you. Trust me, they will let you discount all day long into oblivion, and then you end up running out of options there, and there's really, and you wonder how you got there. Think about the differences between, I put it at the bottom there, between Walmart and Target in the United States and probably Canada too. I think Target's in Canada, I'm not sure. But I know Walmart's in Mexico, and maybe Target is too. But think about the differences between those stores. Yeah, depending on where you are ideologically, there are a few differences. But other than that, there's not much difference between them, is there? If you really get down to it, they're trying to find a way to help stand out. I mean, Target's got all these they've got Starbucks, and they've got all these other little things in there that they're trying to be differentiators. And for many years, they actually were when they were growing. Walmart kind of became the warehouse that sort of had everything. And Target became, they had a thing going for a while there. They were sort of the shabby chic. So you could go decorate your low rent apartment or college dorm with things that looked really good and yet didn't cost all that much. And they were just different. They weren't as clunky as Walmart. They had a little sophistication and style to them. That hadn't been the case for about 20 years, but there was a time when they had that. But now it's just hard to tell. And so what they end up doing is beating each other up on price. Amazon and Walmart beat each other up on price. Now there are some differentiators there, but Walmart has pretty much said, Target, you are no competition to us anymore. Amazon is, and we're going to try to figure. They've said this for the last several years, last 5 years. So that's why everybody's doing their delivery services there, and so they are the number one and number twos, and selling themselves accordingly, with their value points. For Walmart, it's its stores. Not only that you could walk into a store, but they use the stores for the delivery as their delivery points. I know this from talking to Walmart store managers. Believe it or not, they use this as their delivery points, and so that to them is an edge. They don't have to have extra warehouses and distribution points and things that they don't already have. They've already got them. They just have to utilize them, and so they think that's their standout point. Plus some of the products that they offer. And it's not a good, but that's closer competition. Amazon is more their competition now for that reason. But otherwise, these two, I digress, but those two really don't stand out from each other, do they? They're kind of basically the same thing, and why, so then you default to price, then you default to selection, then you default to, in some cases, delivery potential. Or whether or not what's in the stores, and so that's your only product differentiator, and so then everybody loses. Target has gotten away from the shabby chic thing that made them, and they have suffered mightily for it. That and some other things, but they have suffered mightily as a result. So think about that as we go into the next section. So let's talk about how to make your market dominating position. Okay, this is how to make yours. So these are some questions I want to ask you. There's 6 questions here, and then we'll have a little litmus test that we can apply to whatever statement that you come up with, and I will leave you with that. It's fantastic. Okay. So question number one, as you see here, what benefits do you offer your target? Now, don't read ahead on this. Okay. I mean, yeah, you read the question, but don't read ahead. You know where this is going. You know it's going to the hot button things, but let's take this just one step at a time. We are building this from the ground up. Okay. So with that in mind, what benefits do you offer your target market that separates you from all of your competition? Let's just talk about your benefits right now. What do you offer? So break out your USPs. These are all USPs, okay, that we're making. So get your list, get it together, get that figured out, okay? Even if you have to go back and watch this several times, that's fine, no problem. I'd love that. Trust me. All right, so point number two. Yeah, what is the market that you serve? Now, excuse me, we talked about that just a little bit ago. Really give this some thought. Don't just say, I want chiropractors everywhere, or I want small businesses everywhere, because that will eat you alive in advertising costs and different distribution costs and logistics and all that. Actually pick an area. You don't have to pick a niche, but pick an area. Pick an actual location that you can something you can quantify. If that's the United States, okay, fine. If that's a given city or a region of a portion of a city, if it's a big city like Houston, I mean, it's, we're 60 miles across. So it'll take you an hour and a half to get from one side to the other, literally, driving car. So maybe you want a region of a city. LA is kind of the same way. It's a region, not a city. So, I mean, do you do that? Do you now picking multiple countries, unless you're a bigger company that can handle those logistics, might be a bit challenging. And so maybe you want to break this up, but identify who your market is. Okay. And maybe you change, say you do business in US versus Canada. Maybe you have to change a few things due to laws or culture or whatever. I mean, the difference, we were talking about Walmart earlier, the Walmarts in Mexico, and this is changing in the US, but the Walmarts in Mexico had liquor, hard liquor, cigars. You can buy them all right there. You couldn't do that in the US in most places. Now I think that's changing. Now you can some, but that when it's a Walmart in Mexico is a very different place than I mean, it's essentially the same. They design the stores basically the same. They're not as big, but they're the same. But what's in them is different. They populate everything to the local need and to the local laws and what they can do or what they can't do. So think about that when you're really and consider narrowing down your location, your target market as to what you want to do. I mean, if you want to do the United States, or a whole country, then just there's some particular challenges that come with that, depending on what it is that you offer and what you do. All right, so we've got our list. We have our market that we're going to serve, and we've got that nailed down. Maybe you know these answers already, maybe you don't. Okay, point number 3. Are these benefits based on the hot button issues that your prospects, that your clients, that your customers are having? These benefits you listed in number 1, are they truly hot button issues, or are they just a list of cool things that you offer? Okay, do they address the problems that people have but don't want? And the results that people want but don't have? Do they truly address those? Is there any one particular of your benefits that addresses this? Doesn't have to be all of them. It's okay if it's not all of them. Dwell on one thing and do it well. And does it meet this criteria? Does that one statement of a benefit that you offer meet this criteria? If so, that could be the workings of a market dominating position. All right. Okay, so if I were to walk through your company and talk to your employees and ask them what their market dominating position is, or even their unique selling proposition, what makes them unique to the customers, to what degree would I get the same answer? What kind of, I mean, I know there's going to be a little variation. Everybody answers things a little different way. But the object here is culture. When you come up with a market dominating position, make it a part of your culture. Make it a part of everything that you do. you'll see a couple of things, a couple of my examples. I've brought them up before. They're nothing new, but you'll get to see another piece of how that all fits together. And if you've been to any of these places, you really understand how it all fits together. But it's not enough just to come up with the statement. You have to live it. Your company has to live it. Your business has to live it. Your products have to live it. That you're living that solution, and you have to, because with living it comes belief in it. And if you believe it, and you believe it's really solving the problem, and you have proof that it's solving a problem that is the hot button issue for somebody, then guess what? Your clients and your prospects are going to believe it too. So what is if you have multiple people in your business or organization, I know small market or freelancers, this doesn't apply, but if you were to ask other people around you what you do, what your unique selling proposition is, could they tell you? Because they're going to go, maybe they bring people to you. Maybe they sneak in those referrals. You knew I was going to sneak that in, didn't you? Maybe they bring you referrals, but they have to be able to explain what you offer. It's different if they're going to go be a product, if they're going to go be an ambassador for you, if they're going to tell you, help get their contacts to understand what you do. Are you really relating that to them if you have a small business? But if you have a little bit larger one and you have some employees, do they articulate that as well? This culture, I'm spending a little time on this because this culture is very important. This should become a part of your DNA. When you decide what your market dominating position is, more so than a USP, than a unique selling proposition, much more so. Once you decide what your market dominating position is, you have to begin to dominate the market. And that starts with, and everything you do answers those hot button issues. And everything your employees do, it's a part of your culture. It's a part of everything about you. And if that's the case, that will bode well for your success. Okay. All right. Number 5, if you're MDP or USP, excuse me, sorry. Can your market dominating position be condensed into one sentence? Okay. Can it be condensed down into one sentence? Can you make that elevator speech with it? Can you update your elevator speech to incorporate it so that when you instantly talk to somebody or your employees or your referrals go talk to somebody, can they articulate that in one sentence that is all that tells that prospect all they need to know about why they should choose you? That's hard. So what I didn't really dwell on with much of this is that this market dominating position can be frustrating for people. I mean, it can be. It's the results will speak for themselves. I guarantee you. I absolutely guarantee you. But there are some people I recognize who are going to get hung up on this, like writing a mission statement. So that's why I wanted to, really, really focus on these questions whenever they're coming up with it, so you don't get stuck. So if you ever try to write a mission statement for a business, can be a miserable experience because you're essentially trying to. But then again, this could help you write that mission statement because this really speaks to why you're in business in the first place. Not only to provide great value and at a decent price at a fair price for your clients and whatever, but to really address a particular issue that nobody else is addressing, that needs addressing at the right time. It needs addressing. Okay. So then question 6, while I get some coffee, what kind of bottom line how would this affect your bottom line? If you really incorporated this, how do you feel it would affect your business performance? What kind of dent do you think this would make in your market? If you realize very quickly that it does not make a dent in your market, then you need to go back and reevaluate your market dominating position. Excuse me. So it may not be as market dominating as you thought it was. Okay. So let me give you a quick way, a litmus test, if you will, to sample your statement against. Okay. It's called the "well, I should hope so" principle. All right. So if you come up with your statement and you present it to somebody else that's objective, third party out there, and their answer or their thought in their mind is, well, I should hope so, then it's not a good market dominating position, because then everybody else is doing it. Or enough other people are doing it that you are not the unique person, the only unique business, the unique service that will provide exactly the right solution at exactly the right time. So it's and do this in your own mind as well. If you're brainstorming these statements and you're trying to figure out your market, what your market dominating position is, then that's the well, I should hope so. Okay. And I've had to do, it's a small humbling experience. I've put it against what I offered. And so that's why I decided to make changes. I realized there was nothing I was doing that was standing me out in any way, shape, or form. There was nothing I was doing that was standing my business out in any way, shape, or form in a way that I could articulate. I was also realizing that I was having trouble relating to people who aren't marketers what it was I did. Okay. And what it was my company did. And everything that surrounded it. I was having trouble doing that. So I really had to go back to the drawing board and go back down to foundations and say, what is different here? And this statement applied a lot. The well, I should hope so statement. So a response, as it were. So I hope that helps you a little bit there. Now, let's talk about some examples, good and bad, of a market dominating position. All right. So the first one here is a realtor. So we're going to have the bad example first, and then we're going to have a couple of good examples. And I want you to really take some time and study these. Even if this is not your niche, it's probably better off if it's not your niche. But I want you to see what the differences are. So a bad example would be, yes, we help families buy or sell their home, right? A good one is we help a family get into a larger house to buy a larger house than they thought they could afford. That speaks to a specific problems, doesn't it? All of a sudden that speaks to value. You are getting a whole lot more value than you thought you could afford in terms of the size and quality of the house that you're buying. Okay. Or we help you sell your house in 60 days or keep working until it's free until we do. We work for free. So that says, what does that say to a potential seller of a house? That says, if you pick me as a realtor, as a real estate agent, I'm invested in your process. I got to sell this thing. Otherwise, I'm on the hook for it. And I don't get my fees, which is what I live by. So to me, a market dominating position. Now that's not unique. Now I've seen other people doing it, but they do it now for a reason, for a base example, you probably have to put a bit of a twist if there's somebody already in your area doing this. And by the way, this brings up a good point that I didn't put in the presentation. Okay. So if you come up with your do a little bit of market research. This goes back to, I'm going to go up here, knowing your market. Okay. So part of knowing your market is not only size and number of people in it and potential for sales, but who's doing what in it. If you've looked at your potential benefits and you've come up with some ones that might really address some hot button issues, look and see if somebody else is doing this. Is somebody else doing that exact same thing you're talking about? If so, you may have to pivot a little bit. And so, because you should be the only one. You should position yourself as the absolute only one. I don't care if there's enough business out there to, that maybe that person, that company, and you say, you know what, you take this group over here and I'll take this group over here, and there's enough. Only do that as a last resort. If you really can't come up with anything else, and then you decide for yourself, and marketers do this all the time, guys. They decide for themselves, okay, there's enough business out there. There's enough small businesses out there who need our help that I can jump out there and do this. Well, that forces you not to be compelling, doesn't it? It forces you not to be original. It forces you not to stand out in any way whatsoever. Is there other people doing what I do right now? Yes, there are. And so I've kind of taken some of that tactic. But there are enough people who don't do what I do, that we will stay away from each other for sure. And I have worked on enough other value so that I don't fall victim to this. Okay. In what I'm bringing and what in the services that I'm offering and my history and my background. And I know I'm going to have success at this because I bring some other aspects in, not to mention 20 years as a business owner. Okay. As an actual business owner that had nothing to do with digital marketing. In fact, we could have used digital marketing at many, many points all along the way. And there are some stories about that I will tell and retell over the course of time as we work through these different areas to skyrocket your success. Okay, to skyrocket your business, to truly launch it and realize what I call the real business life change. So I want to take that side trip just for a little bit because that's really what this sparked in me. Is if everybody else is doing this, you may need to alter your approach just a bit. More people are starting to, but there's still enough in the realtor world, in the homeowner, in the real estate world, that you can probably get away with doing something like this. Particularly if you do your research again, this is where the market is important. If nobody else is, I don't care if you saw somebody in California doing it and you're in Illinois, in the US, or you're in Canada, and they're not. It doesn't matter. If they're not in your market, it doesn't matter. If nobody else is doing this in your market, then by all means, jump on it and offer these things. Offer the work for 60 days or sell it for 60 days, or you work for free, or these different approaches, or come up with your own. Okay. All right. So moving on, another example here, a dentist. And this may be a big deal. So bad one, this is what we offer family checkups and we offer family checkups and fix what's wrong. Right. So typical dentist. But now I saw this is a great idea from the examples that I had is a dentist that we offer the same services to everybody, at copay prices, whether or not you have insurance. So those not familiar with insurance, you have many, not all plans, but some plans on insurance. You have you already prepay that with your monthly fee that you pay the insurance company. So that then allows you to go to pay set prices for things whenever you say go to a doctor's appointment or you go to the pharmacy and you get different tiers of medications, that sort of thing. Everything's become set prices. So a trip to the doctor would say then cost you $25 as a copay versus what the normal rate of $75 to $100. Now many have figured out that game, in that if they don't have to accept or process insurance, they don't have to pay somebody for that. So it gets their costs down. We'll talk about that in a future episode of this. But for right now, that's a way around it. So it costs them less to process somebody who doesn't have insurance. So why not give them the benefit and use that as a selling point? I'm going to charge, you get to pay copay prices just like everybody else, whether or not you have insurance. So you're still making money. You're still making your $25. Yeah, you're not making the rest of it, but what you're losing in margin, you're making up for in customers in this particular case. Now, this is not necessarily competing on price. You could say a copay is anything. Copay is $50. Okay. Is that worth the teeth cleaning? Yeah, I suppose. You could really fill up your dental hygienist chairs and maximize them out with a bunch of 50s, or you can have them be, 3/4 full or even half full at full price. So, or copay only, we only accept insurance only. And then you have to monkey with contacting the insurance company and trying to get the rest of your money beyond that copay. So that is a matter of economics. That's more than just marketing. It's a marketing statement that becomes an economic one for a business. Do you want a lot of smaller impacts, or do you want a few larger impacts? And what's the difference? The next thing there you see is the Invisalign concept and that has brought some new business back. Now, That one does. I mean, I had put that there because when you think of dentists these days, you almost think of Invisalign. It speaks to the marketing that Invisalign does. They're essentially modern takes on braces. Okay. And see, the thing now, braces have become cool among the kids. So to have braces is kind of a, oh yeah, that's awesome. You won't have to see it. Okay, that's great. So this statement doesn't necessarily carry the weight that it should, but and there's a lot of dentists offering this Invisalign, like I said, because of their marketing. But it's a nonetheless, one of the things behind it is the same, is you get to get your issues corrected that you've had for a long time, and nobody will know you're wearing braces. It's an Invisalign thing. So they turn that into that statement there, and that's what you get. So not the best example, but I wanted to see how that might apply in an area where in a particular niche that's not really known for their flashy marketing as much, or their flashy, standout-ish. They're a dentist. Everybody's going to need a dentist at some point, so there are varying approaches to this. I've seen dentists who really talk about the experience and focus on the experience and pain-free dentistry and the things that, dentists have the highest suicide rate of anybody of any profession in the country, or did for a while, because of the experience you think going to the dentist office is. And so there have been a lot of efforts, I think, to combat that. I see from them addressing the entire patient experience whenever they walk in, and how that works, and how comfortable you are, and how not scary it is, and how we let you, work through everything. My daughter, when she was very young, the dentist we went to, she was about 3 or 4. Had a couple of dentists on staff, and they were friends anyway. So one of them took a little extra time with her before she ever sat down in the chair, and showed her one day what all the equipment was and what it did, and let her play with it a little bit, to the supervised, of course, but showed her everything and what it was. So it took the scary away. And from then on, she's been fine going to a dentist. It doesn't bother her at all. But because they took the time to really work, and this particular place is not really a pediatric dentist. They see a lot of kids, but they don't market themselves as a pediatric dentistry. But he took that little extra time to familiarize her with it. And I don't think that was the first time that had happened with people. And it really made a world of difference. So they're doing things to address that issue, that's a hot button issue with people, is their experience at the dentist, because everybody's got a bad one. And so the dentists are trying to turn that around and make it into something that, you got to do this you really should have good, mouth health. But also make it in such a way that it's at least a tolerable experience, if not a halfway decent one. So there's people that do that. I've also had a dentist that I wish he marketed this, but he's retired now. It was I would go do in college. I would go see this dentist because I always had soft teeth. So a trip to the dentist usually ended up in dental work of some sort for me. But in the office, while this was going on, while they were doing the repair work and everything, this guy should have been a comedian. And so he would say things and interact, and I'm sure it was a shtick that he had worked out with his assistants and the nurses and the hygienists that were there. And so they had this whole thing that they would, it'd be different every time. And it was torture, because you were laughing. So you wanted to laugh so much, but you couldn't because they were working on your mouth. It's kind of a different kind of torture, but just had a real nice way of going through and working through that. So that is certainly a long way to say that is a way of addressing the niche and the problems that come with it. Oh, you saw one of my other ones. So did I miss something somewhere? Okay, no, I guess I didn't. Let's go to Buc-ee's. This is I want to throw that one in the middle here. Yes, you've seen this before. You saw it last week, in fact, as we were for part of our Monday replay. But I wanted to actually include the signs and some of the theory behind this. Okay, so yes, they're a gas station who offers convenience items whenever you're on, and gas and fuel for your vehicle whenever you're on the road. All right, that's the bad things. The good stuff. Top 2 reasons to stop at Buc-ee's, and you see the actual sign. Yes, this was an actual sign down on the bottom here that they put out there. Top two reasons to stop at Buc-ee's. Number 1 and number 2. For those of you who don't know what that is, number 1 is urine and number 2 is poo. Okay, let's just get that out there. So, but there are as you recall, and I did not put the picture of it up, but what they sell are their bathrooms. Their bathrooms are rated the cleanest some of the cleanest in the country. And so they make sure they are rated among the cleanest in the country. And at the time these have gone up, nobody really focused on that in the convenience store world or the travel center world. Nobody did that. They have changed that, and now you see these other chains that are where Buc-ee's go into. They're trying to compete. They're trying to alter to do what they do to catch up, because Buc-ee's has truly changed the game on that aspect, which is it's a free thing. They don't make money on the bathrooms. They make money on what happens when you come out of the bathroom and you see all the stuff in the store that you can buy. But their mission is then accomplished, because to get to the bathroom, it's usually in the center of the store. So you had to walk all the way through all that stuff that you're going to come back to get it. So the mission accomplished there. All right. Okay. And there's a bunch of other ones that are more, cultural song, watch me whip into Buc-ee's, stuff like that. But the other one I found that I thought was pretty good. 2 reasons to stop at Buc-ee's. Homemade fudge. And trust me, it's good. But what does that start you thinking about? As you're going down the road, when do you see ever a convenience store advertising this? It is good. Make no mistake. If you like fudge, but when do you ever see a convenience store doing this? And what thoughts and emotions for those who have had fudge, homemade fudge, what thoughts and emotions does that evoke? Think about a restaurant or a place that you would go and what they have there why you would go to that restaurant. It's for a particular type of food. Usually you will go across town to find that food because they're the only ones who do it. Okay. They're the only ones who do it a certain way. With Buc-ee's, it's also the barbecue table. They have this whole big show that is the barbecue table, and you watch all these guys and girls. There's men and women there as butchers. They're chopping meat, and they're almost putting on a performance. There was the Renaissance festivals here. The Texas Renaissance Festival is one of the largest in the nation. It's not the highest quality necessarily always, but it is the largest. They pride themselves on that. I've been to probably the highest quality one. It was up in Minnesota, but there used to be a guy there, and I don't know if he's still around or not, named Eric the Flute Master. And every time you'd go to there, if you hung around and watched, and he even acknowledged it, because one time we did this, but he sells flutes and little wooden instruments and saxophones, and he has it's Renaissance, but he's got his little radio in the back that has tracks that he can pick up an instrument and play along to. So, and he goes through but he's got this whole shtick that he goes through in selling these flutes and these instruments. They're set flutes, saxophones, different things. And it's hysterical to watch him. It's a performance all itself. And you can't help but want to buy something from this guy because it's so good. So, he's figured out his audience is these people at these Renaissance. I don't know if he sells any other instruments outside of that or not, but the Renaissance crowd is his crowd. And so he has worked everything around to accommodate that, to sell something that is a luxury item for people. Not everybody's going to walk through the Renaissance Festival and buy an instrument. Most people are not, or walk through anywhere and buy an instrument, let alone a Renaissance Festival. But he has made it so compelling that it works. So, Eric the Flute Master, if you ever see him around any of the Ren fairs, put it in the comments somewhere, because I want to see what happened to him. Okay, but that was many, many years ago. It's 20 years ago, probably. So, all right. So let's move on to more examples here, right? Okay, so we have this is the example of I'm missing one. Let me jump down here. Let me go to the daycare, and I'll come back to that gallery furniture you just saw. So daycare, these somehow got out of order. All right, a bad one is we provide a safe environment for this will prove my point. We provide a safe environment for your child to learn and grow. Well, I should hope so, right? So you get to see that in practice. So how would a daycare capitalize on this? Your child will end up reading at a second grade level before they even start kindergarten. To a parent, that is powerful right there. That middle one is absolutely powerful. We don't treat your child we treat your child like a little person instead of just a number. That too is important. There's some example takeoffs of that and how you could capitalize on that. But either one of those statements speak to specific needs and concerns that parents have. They do. And so those are things that if I'm going to entrust my child to somebody, these are things that I'm going to wrestle with. And these are things that I'm going to look for. And if they choose to stand out in the general area, because most people for daycare, though, I think there's a study somewhere. It's kind of like gyms. The radius is about 5 to 10 miles around you, and that's all you'll look at. You don't want to, go 20 miles over to drop your kid off at daycare and then come back to do whatever it is you got to do. So it's really probably about 5 miles and only to 10 miles if they don't have a choice. If they're going to use daycare, that's what they're looking for. And so you can get away with offering some more of this because your target audience is about 5 to 10 miles around you. And if nobody else is offering these pledges, these guarantees that you are, then you're going to get the business from it. And you're going to do, because this is something that's going to resonate with parents. I promise you it is. For those of you who are not parents yet, this is a big deal. Okay. So now let's go back to our friend Jim McIngvale and Gallery Furniture. Another one you've mentioned. So I included some pictures. This is, I believe that top one is their main location, and as is the inside of their main location there. It's in North Houston, and so for those who don't remember, this is I've talked about him a lot too, and you can look him up. He's actually out there, and actually, if you go in the store, you're very likely to see him. I think he's in his 70s or whatever, but he's there almost every day. Working in that store, getting on the speaker, talking to customers. You're very likely to talk to him. If you buy furniture, particularly significant amounts of furniture, you see how big that store is. It's got all kinds of stuff in there you can't even imagine. But you will get a call. You will likely get a call from him. And think about how many people are in that store who are doing what they do, and yet here is the CEO calling you to talk about your experience. That is powerful, my friends. So Gallery Furniture, and he's making now notoriety because he's placing some of the largest gambling bets in U.S. history, as I recall, and he's finding places that'll take him up on this for sports. So regardless of what your position is on gambling, there's other things that he does too. When there's community disasters, this is a furniture store guy. He's usually organizing relief supplies and convoys and different things and furniture. I mean, providing what he does to relief agencies and houses and people and different things and hurricanes. He's usually on top of it. He went up to Kentucky when they had flooding there a year or two ago. Just involved in so many things that are well outside of Houston. Okay, so let's talk about the furniture store. Think about this for the furniture stores you've seen. Largest furniture selection at the lowest price, right? You see that all the time. These two statements below are actually, I edited them a little bit, but they're pretty much his statements. Buy it today. Gallery Furniture delivers it tonight. Okay. Buy today, we deliver tonight. I genericized it, but he always says, buy today, buy your furniture today. Gallery Furniture delivers tonight. That truck is following you home in some cases. That's how quick they are. That is their big deal. And if it's, they can't deliver it that day for some reason, they work it out for the next day. There's been a couple times that's happened, but it's very, very rare. And it was due to some logistic with the furniture, something they were going to do. But the lion's share of what they sell, they're delivering that night. They're there at your house, ready to move it in. Okay. And then the other one is we have your solid wood American made furniture. He does say that. And I'm going to try to say it the same way he does. It is hokey as all get out. Okay. But it works. Buy your solid wood American made furniture today, and we'll deliver it right away without any frustrating back order slip. Okay, the back order slip, right? So when you go to the message there, you go to a lot of furniture stores and they have central warehouses. And so you buy the furniture, they don't deliver it that night. They don't deliver it for the next day. They don't deliver it for a couple of weeks, maybe. Or they really don't have it in stock except for that demo. So you get a back order slip and you get to sit on this thing and think about your purchase and regret your purchase until this actually shows up. So they have cured that by they make a big deal out of the back order slip, and he tears it up on camera. I mean, his commercials are not hard to find. I'll warn you, it's hokey, but it works. It has been hokey for 30 years, and it's not going to change because it absolutely works. So, I mean, no matter how much money he gets, no matter how sophisticated he gets, he still defaults to many of the same things that got him there in the first place. And that either works for you or it doesn't work for you, but the success is undeniable. Okay. So I hope those are some good examples of what to do, and some examples of what not to do. When you're coming up with your particular statement for your particular niche, maybe you can look at some of these. Do your own research. See who's out there in a market. Just pick somewhere else so you can see what they're doing and why, and see who's advertising. So let's move on to mine, since I just showed it there for a second. All right. I can get any business at least $50,000 of revenue in 50 minutes. Done. Guaranteed. And yes, that is an actual guarantee. I will keep working till I do, but I'm not going to have to work that hard. And that number is actually closer to 100,000, guys. So this is a process that we go through. We call it the success blueprinting process, where I sit down with your business and we work through these things with you. Now, this assumes that you are capable right now of having $50,000 in revenue. Okay. If you're a little small business making $1,000 a month, this is not, I'm not going to find you $50,000. I'm sorry. But what I can do is, if you apply these principles we're talking about, starting with the market dominating position, we can get you there. We can get you there over time, but we can get you there depending on how hungry you are, depending on how ready you are. That's one of the questions we asked. Remember, we talked about that the last time, is how hungry are you? How ready for success? How ready for change are you? So we go through this process, and this it takes about 50 minutes, 45 to 90 minutes. Once we're done, then we give you a report of what we found together. We give you a roadmap, step by step, on how to do it and how to achieve it. And then we offer to be, this is what we're really aiming for. We offer to be your guide. We offer to be your coach. We offer to be your confidant, your advisor, all along the way, step by step, in bite-sized chunks that you can deal with. Your business work is busy. It should be. It should be productive while you're busy. So we don't take up much of that time each week. But if you do the things that we talk about together, you will, step by step, piece by piece, you will start to realize that revenue that we promised you, and a whole lot more. We'll start finding other places that we can recover that revenue for you too. So that is what I do. Right up front, there is my market dominating position. Are others doing this? Yes. But have you heard of them? Not as much. So this is the area that I can influence by offering this of recovering at least $50,000 in revenue, finding at least $50,000 in revenue for you in 50 minutes. It really is that. And at the end, you will have the exact steps, the exact amount, and the exact way to go get it. And one of the areas that we focus on, we only take 3 of 12 areas as we jumpstart your success here. There's 12 possible roads we could go down that will provide real results, but those results are different for every business. So we only take about 3 of them. But one of them, you can best believe, is the market dominating position. In fact, it's probably the top one because, like I said, it realizes that 75% success rate. And that's almost as good as referrals, but it's actually better because it's in a broader sense. It's not one and done on the referrals. It is that they're guaranteed to buy. Yeah, that success rate's higher for referrals, but that's a small piece. If you do this consistently, that 75% is across the board of what you do. And think about what that looks like for your business. Think about what a 75% increase in revenue for your business will do. And you marketers, we don't have a lot invested in cost of goods sold here, do we? So that's all profit. There's some serious profit margins there because you don't invest as much in expenses of software and that sort of thing. Your asset is your time. Okay. Just like in many cases, my asset is my time too. So here we go. That's it. Now it's your turn. Let's have in the comments some market dominating positions. Let's have some opportunities there where, maybe somebody has come up with something there. So I'm just maybe I'll jump over to the comments. Yes, I know people can help me with this, so don't bother posting that on the comments. Let's just save that. In the other words, I can actually help you with it. So not as many in the comments, but that's cool. No problem. So what you can do is this. Why don't you post over time what those would be? Why don't you come in there? Hang on just a second here. Let me check one more place. Okay. Yeah, a lot of folks saying hello. Cool. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. So why don't you post over time in the comments wherever you're watching this about your market dominating position or some particular ideas, or if you have any questions, we'll try to get in there and answer them as best we can. So I hope this was helpful for you. I hope this is mind altering in getting you to think about your business in a way that's more so than a unique selling proposition. Several of us have talked about unique selling propositions, right? But there are things about them that we're missing. There are things about them that just don't go far enough. Okay. In fact, the market dominating position can be a unique selling proposition or a benefit. So really take that to see what that looks like to take it to another level and really go after that market. And let's see what that does to your bottom line. Let's see what that does to your situation. Let's see what that does to your company culture, to your business culture, whether you're a small business that starts out really simple or you're a Fortune 1000 company. What does that do to your culture to really rally behind something that is, the particular statement about a hot button issue in a market that you provide the benefit for and nobody else does. Nobody else does this like you. Nobody else does. Think about the brands that that do this and stop and analyze them. This is a big part of branding, and it's not the only part, but it's a big part of branding and how that can make a difference. So I hope this is helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we will be back next time with more stuff as we jump into the ways to jumpstart your business success. Thanks again for watching. Take care.